Right now on the news at 11, still tracking showers that may impact the Midlands tonight. What you need to know as we head into the overnight hours. Your news at 11 starts right now. Breaking news we're following right now out of Richland County. Deputies have arrested a man who led them on a chase with a child inside the vehicle. We're told that child is okay and with family. It started a little over an hour ago on Furwood Circle and ended at Main and Elmore with the man's car flipped over. Deputies were originally responding to a call about suspicious activity at a house party. We're working to find out what charges he's now facing. We'll update you on air and online as we learn more. This is a live pic of that scene. They are actually moving to work that car right now out of the area. We've got a live look there, and we'll continue to follow this story and bring you more updates.
All right, we are now looking at an improving forecast for many of us across the Midlands. If you've been tracking the weather for the day, we had several areas with strong showers and storms. For tonight, though, things are starting to calm down, certainly in downtown Columbia, 78 degrees, feels like 80. This was one area that actually escaped dealing with some big storms for tonight. But Orangeburg was under the gun, along with Bowman, Manning, into areas near Sumter as well. All of these areas had to endure strong showers and storms, and you can see a lot of them now starting to move just beyond I-95. Still got a couple of spots we need to be concerned about, like one or two storms north of Irmo, south of Chapin, just north of Lake Murray, heading all the way over to the Blythewood area. So if that's a part of your evening, make sure you remember that these are just light showers. We're not talking about severe storms. St. Matthews, Cameron, Lone Star, Ellery, this is actually your second round of rain, and we also have some rain over near Wagner. As we look over towards Manning, this is where we find the heftiest rain, and we're also looking at the rain totals. Most areas near the Orangeburg County area in the blue, all of these areas are over 1 inch. All the areas in the green right at about an inch or below. And as we look at the numbers now, 75 degrees in St. Matthews, 71 in North, 77 for you in Lexington, 72 Saluda and Newberry now, and it feels like 72 for you, even though one or two areas you still have to factor in the humidity, and it feels just a few degrees warmer than it actually is. We're looking at the numbers for the rest of the night, where we'll see the temperatures going down to the middle 70s. We're pretty close to those numbers now, and that's about where we'll stay. As we go into tomorrow, 91, hotter when you add in the humidity, and overnight 73. We'll talk details about the rest of your forecast coming up soon.
Thanks, Vaughn. New details tonight on the work underway to clean up a local cemetery that was vandalized last weekend. Today, the cemetery replaced flowers, vases, and American flags that were destroyed at the Greenlaw Memorial Cemetery off Leesburg Road. But as Caroline Patrikas reports, it could take months to get it back to normal.
My mom was from England. He met her during the war and brought her back over here, and this is her final place.
Philip Beeler buried his parents at Greenlaw Memorial.
It was devastating, for somebody to come out here and do something like that.
He's talking about a week ago when the cemetery was vandalized. They're one of hundreds who were victims of the vandalism. This is what it looked like. Flowers smashed everywhere. Vases stolen and American flags broken. The damage worth more than $15,000.
His entire vase, he had an American flag. He was a World War II veteran. A rosary, angels, everything was just shattered and destroyed.
And despite that,
people could come and get their flowers or American flag, and my wife and I decided to just come out and volunteer our services.
Saturday, many of them joined in the cemetery to clean up the mess and get it back to normal. The cemetery provided flowers and vases and flags, as most of the people who rest here are veterans.
Through, the media and the news, Greenlawn, we found out about it. We've had a lot of people come out here and volunteer. Me and my oldest sister, we came out here on Monday and helped, pitch in and do our share. And but the one good thing of it, the community came together. And a lot of people have come out here and volunteered their time, even in this heat. Everybody's been coming out here, so it's good for the community, even though for something bad that happened.
Beeler called it a blessing in disguise. In Columbia, Caroline Patrikas, WIS News 10.
Police have arrested and charged 24-year-old Justin Beach with vandalizing the cemetery. If you were a victim, the cemetery is still providing vases and flowers for free. Get details on our website, wistv.com. Jimmy Causey, the inmate who escaped a maximum security prison here in South Carolina, is in Texas waiting to be extradited back to the state after being captured yesterday. Causey was captured at a motel in Cedar Park, Texas, just outside of Austin early Friday morning. Prison officials say cell phones and possibly a drone were used to help him escape from the Lieber Correctional Institution in Ridgeville Tuesday night. A prison employee has been fired in connection to Causey's escape. New at 11, a Lancaster man who has been missing for several days has been found dead. Jarrell White's body was found in a pond about 50 feet from an area where he was last seen before he went missing early Wednesday morning. The Lancaster County Sheriff's Office has not confirmed that his death is suspicious or involved in any foul play. An autopsy is scheduled for tomorrow to find out how he died. Many in the community were concerned his death may have been racially motivated, but his family says they do not believe race played a role in his death.
That there is no black and white issue, there's a character issue. We don't care if you're black, we don't care if you're white, you're going to be served justice.
Again, no confirmation from the sheriff's office that they suspect foul play in Jarrell's death, but according to family and neighbors, Jarrell was at a party in the neighborhood Tuesday night. He was spotted on surveillance footage hopping a fence, and about 50 feet away, his body was found in a pond this morning. Also new at 11, in the upstate, police in Gaffney are investigating after 3 people were shot overnight at a nightclub. Witnesses say someone opened fire inside Club Empire before going out on the street, firing more shots. Investigators say the crime scene spanned out over 2 blocks. A woman whose son owns the club says she was outside when shots were fired around 1:45 a.m.
It was like more or less like a shock, like a numbness, like you trying to figure out, oh my God, what is this? What's going on? Why? Why would somebody be that cruel to want to just start shooting? And then not only that, they go well down the street here and start just shooting like they're shooting fireworks. It's just off. It's sad.
No word on if a suspect has been arrested. Developing right now, Richland County deputies are investigating a shooting at an apartment complex last night. This is video from the scene in the 3600 block of Ranch Road. One man was taken to the hospital with injuries. No word on his condition or any suspects. Columbia police are investigating a shooting that happened around midnight on Hallbrook Drive. Police say a man was shot and taken to the hospital. No word on his condition either. Authorities think the shooting may have stemmed from an armed robbery attempt. They're working to get more information on the suspect. If you know anything on either of these shootings, call Crime Stoppers at 1-888-CRIME-SC. Take a look at this scene in Charlottesville, Virginia. A Confederate statue was vandalized overnight just hours before a scheduled Ku Klux Klan rally. The rally attracted hundreds of counter-protesters, with police stuck in between trying to keep the peace. Several dozen Klan members held the rally to protest the city's decision to remove a statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee from a park. Some wore Klan robes and carried Confederate flags. There are reports that some arrests were made, but no reports of any injuries. Earlier this week, we showed you these photos of police in Lexington being trained on Narcan, which is used to reverse an overdose, hoping to fight a growing opioid epidemic. In Ohio, one law enforcement agency is refusing to administer Narcan to overdose victims, saying carrying the remedy puts officers' lives in danger. Karen Johnson has the story.
I've never used Narcan, won't use it till the courts make me.
Sheriff Richard Jones reiterating today what he's said repeatedly.
Narcan's not a cure-all, and I'm not going to have my guys do it. When the police go out, it's not safe to get down on your knees and squirt this spray in their nose. These people don't want the police there. They're more concerned with hiding their drugs, hiding their needles.
Although frustrated with the amount of his resources used for repeated heroin runs, often to the same home, Jones says his main reason for his decision, to protect his officers.
It's not my officer's job to go out and die to save somebody's life that chose to do those drugs and has a dirty needle and has some type of disease. It's not his or her job to die for something they chose to do.
Tammy Norris's daughter has been an addict for 9 years.
My daughter's been saved by Narcan more times than I can imagine.
Although paramedics saved her daughter each time, Tammy says officers took an oath to save lives and feels they should also be equipped with the drug.
If you ran up to someone who was on a, wrecked in an accident, you would try to save that person.
However, like the sheriff, Tammy says Narcan is not a cure-all. A dose of the drug to reverse the effects of heroin would only be step number 1 in getting an addict on a path to recovery.
I think more people could be saved, but it has to go hand in hand. It has to go saving them, detoxing them, and then getting them into treatment.
Tammy says her daughter has been clean for 10 months, and she says it's because of Narcan that her family is where they are now. Breaking news we're following right now out of Richland County. We told you earlier that deputies have arrested a man who led them on a chase with the child inside the vehicle. We just learned his name is Brian Martin. He's being charged with simple possession of marijuana, driving under suspicion, reckless driving, failure to stop for blue lights and sirens, resisting arrest, and child endangerment. Again, we've been following this story for about the last hour, and we'll bring you any new updates as we learn more.
All right, remember earlier tonight we saw several thunderstorms and we had several reports of thunderstorm wind damage. Also reports of hail came in from Orangeburg County. We're going to talk about where the storms are now and what you can expect for tomorrow coming up. Some areas in Columbia did not see one single drop of rain. Here at the station, we didn't see any rain. We could see a sprinkle or two before it's all said and done, but that's kind of the way it is, feast or famine around here in terms of showers and storms.
Yeah, I noticed driving back in from dinner, the clouds looked scary. I was worried if I was going to make it back before it started storming, but no, we didn't really see much.
It never happened right in downtown Columbia. We escaped it just for today.
All right, well, those chances of storms continue over the next couple of days.
They're still there.
All right, thanks for that, Vaughn. Well, check this out. Cell phone video captured shots of a hay devil in Oregon. A hay devil is when the ground gets very hot and strong convection takes place, causing the rapidly rising air to lift dust and straw into the air and create a rotation. Check that out. You can see the twister actually travel from one field across the road and into the other field. The whirlwind ended after a short time. The president is now back in the nation's capital after the G20 summit. Ahead on the news at 11, the new details we're learning tonight about President Trump's time in Germany. President Trump returned to the White House tonight after attending the G20 summit. He stood out from the crowd on some issues and faced continuing questions after his first meeting with Russia's President Vladimir Putin. Haley Jackson has new details from Germany.
Heading from Hamburg home, President Trump leaving a G20 summit that at times felt more like 19 on 1. The U.S. mostly on its own on trade and climate. But it's the Russia relationship now raising the most questions. President Vladimir Putin publicly pushing his own account of his talk with President Trump. As a senior administration official tells NBC News, the president pressed Putin for 40 minutes on Moscow's meddling in the 2016 election.
As far as I could, I answered these questions. He noted them and he agreed, but you have to ask him how he really felt about it.
NBC's Keir Simmons asking through a translator about Putin's denials.
When you said that Russia hadn't intervened in the U.S. elections, what did he say?
He asked me questions. I answered, I clarified, and I think that he was satisfied with my answers.
Top White House officials today declining to dispute Russia's characterization of the conversation, saying the president would be happy to make a statement himself, but he did not in Germany, skipping the customary overseas news conference, instead saying only this.
Rex and I had a tremendous meeting yesterday with President Putin.
And while the president appeared more comfortable personally on the world stage, he also seems more isolated on policy points like trade and especially climate, after pulling out of the Paris Agreement, promising to renegotiate it. The communique released today from the summit singles out the U.S. and pointedly calls the deal irreversible, with the White House downplaying the divisions.
To get 20 of your friends to agree to we're going to have dinner tonight is really hard.
But the president still cannot shake the shadow of Russia, as late tonight, the New York Times reports on a meeting during the campaign between a Kremlin-linked lawyer and Donald Trump Jr., Jared Kushner, and then campaign chair Paul Manafort. The president's son tonight is confirming that meeting happened to NBC News, describing it as short and introductory, saying they discussed a Russian adoption program, but describing that as not a campaign issue at the time. Hallie Jackson, NBC News, Hamburg.
Keeping you safe on the roads, officers are on the lookout for distracted drivers this weekend. We'll tell you where after the break. And we're continuing to keep an eye on any severe weather that could impact the Midlands tonight. Meteorologist Vaughn Gaskin is working the latest models for updates in just a few minutes. In the meantime, make sure you have our WIS First Alert Weather app for constant coverage of what's happening outside. Download it now for free in your app store. Happening right now, the Lexington County Sheriff's Department is working to keep you safe on the road. Take a look at this list on your screen. These are the streets where deputies are having traffic safety patrols. Deputies say they're looking for speeders, distracted drivers, or those who are under the influence and behind the wheel. The safety patrols will be underway all weekend long. A Florida man is in the ICU after an alligator nearly took off his arm. The 51-year-old professional diver was hired by a golf club to collect balls from the course's ponds. Dahlia Dambra has the story.
I had just talked to him about 45 minutes before the attack, and he's like, hey, I have to go jump in this lake. I'm going to call you right when I get out.
But the call Kaylin Lahodic was expecting from her dad never came. Instead, her mom called with horrible news.
Alligator grabbed his arm, started doing the death roll. He was able to punch it in the face, and it let go. He drove to the clubhouse at the golf course where they called 911.
Are you bleeding anywhere, sir? It looks like his under his arm, left arm. He says it's ugly. It's all the way down to the bone.
EMS rushed to the Rotunda Golf and Country Club to help Lahodic.
It was mostly located on that upper left arm, was the site of his injuries.
Lahodic was airlifted to Lee Memorial's Trauma Center.
He had major muscle damage and damage to the arteries and stuff in his arm.
Within a few hours, alligator trappers from Florida Fish and Wildlife caught the gator that attacked Lahodic.
You don't get too many over 10.5. He's probably 500-600 pounds or more. We couldn't lift him. We had to use a winch to winch him in the truck. The guy's lucky he got away from him.
Residents on the pond where Lahodic was working are now nervous to go near the water's edge.
You figure they can be out there, but this is proof that they really are.
Lahodic is set to have another surgery on Monday. Right now, he is able to use his left hand, but not his elbow or upper arm. Authorities say the alligator that attacked him will either be euthanized or sent to a gator farm. Still tracking showers around the Midlands tonight. Meteorologist Vaughn Gaskin is timing where they could be in your area next.